Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chestnut channel. Thanks for being with us once again. It is time for Tartan Day very soon. April the 5th is Tartan Day. It's a United States holiday now, and it's going to be a very special event that evening I'm going to attend. It's called the Tartan Ball. The Scots Charitable Society runs that as a major benefit every year to raise funds for the mission that they have, which is to help out Scots in the community. And here to talk about that with me is my good friend Scott McKenzie. He's the president of the Scots Charitable Society, and you might have seen him last year around this time talking to me, and he's back. Welcome, Scott. Thank you for being here again.
Thank you, Ray. It's always good to be here and to be on the Touch Not channel. I really appreciate what you do.
Oh, thank you so much, and I certainly appreciate what you do. I've seen it in action. I've been talking to a few people this week about that on the channel. I've seen what the Scots Charitable Society does, not just what they claim to, but they come through.
Appreciate that. Somebody had said, "Oh, we heard about the Scotch Charitable Society," and I love what they said next. They said it's a noble organization, complete with, how did they say it? With people who have big hearts and powerful spirits. And I just marveled at that. I'm like, wow, you
Wow.
hit that right on the head, because
Yep,
our motto is Scots helping Scots.
indeed.
And we have our Tartan Ball coming up, and last year was a huge success.
Ready and 1, 2, 3, turn. And forward, 2, turn. Backwards. Lady turns by the right hand. And grab your gentleman.
We do have a few tickets remaining, and I encourage anybody, if you're thinking about going, please order your ticket. I will tell you that for 6 weeks after last year's Tartan Ball, we were still getting feedback from people raving about the good time they had. We heard comments of people saying, "We're going to be back next year." Or someone else said, "This was so good, I'm going to tell my friends and bring them." And statements like that. They said, the one that I really loved the best of all was the fact that they said, "This exceeded all of my expectations." Like, that's a great compliment. And this year we've upped the game some. Now, when people come in to the Tartan Ball before it gets started, they are going to be entertained by, her name is Rayona, and she's a harpist from
Hmm.
Connecticut. She's really, really good. So this brings us back to the time of years ago when we held the Tartan Ball, when the lights were low, people were coming in, and this beautiful harp was playing, and people relaxed, and they were kind of being lulled in
Yes.
before the piper marches in the officers. And we're back at that tradition now.
Lovely, Scott. I know Rhiannon Sky. I've met
Yes.
her. I had her at the I invited her to the No Fame games last June. So she came there with us in Milford. So that's wonderful news that she's going to be there at the beginning. Lovely.
Yeah. Are you going to be at the No Fame games this year?
Yes.
Scotch Charitable has been invited to have a tent there, and
Oh, good.
we will be there with our team wearing our blue Scotch Charitable polo shirts.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I'll be running the clan tents there again this year. That's what I did last year, trying to get everybody set up and where to go and what to do and that kind of thing that day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, wonderful. I, I,
It's a one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would also say the meal, everybody, the meal at the Tartan Ball was excellent last year. Very,
It
very, very
was.
nice.
Yes, I did hear lots of feedback about that as well. The, the only complaint we got, and this is not surprising, where people were saying that you ran out of single malt scotch.
It wasn't my fault.
Yeah. So so we told the folks at the Indian Ridge Country Clubs, be
Right.
sure you have some more single malt scotch on. He said, remember, these are Scottish people. They're going to be drinking single malt.
You have long memories too.
Oh, yep, yeah, they certainly do. What was something my grandfather said about the Scots is that when it comes to money, they have deep pockets and short arms.
Yeah,
You
that's right.
know. But the tartan ball, just so you know, the purpose of it is not only a celebration of Scottish culture, it is really a way that we raise money to put forward, that we invest so that we can provide scholarship funds for deserving young men and women. Each year, we usually give out scholarships to about 60 young men and women of Scottish descent.
Wow.
And it's last year's scholarship award ceremony. We had Dr. Maya Levy. She did a recording for us because she is the number one urologist in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
She is a former scholarship member.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. She grew up in South Boston and she just went to the University of Pennsylvania Med School, and she now has risen. I mean, she's big out in Los Angeles, and she was honored to do a brief video talking about how the society had helped her through the 4 years of college and so forth, and got me thinking, I wonder how many other people today out there were
Right.
given the scholarship and how they benefited from it. And this is really what we're doing. We are investing in the younger people in the Scottish culture in the Boston area. We want to continue that.
Right. And those ripples go out through many, many lives that you've touched, Scott. I can see that from the
It,
illustration you've just done.
that's a great way of saying it. The ripples go far and wide. And as I became president January of last year, and for the benefit of our listeners, I've been a member of the society for 43 years.
That right.
I was just a kid out of college when I first joined. Matter of fact, the person closest to me in age at that time was in their 40s. And here I am, 22, 23. I was like
Yeah.
still wet behind years as far as they were concerned. And over the years, I've just taken mental notes
Hmm.
of what I liked and what I didn't like. And when it was my turn to become president, I said, okay, we need to bring about some changes. And there have been some things that we've had to address. One of them was something I learned at the main games last year, which blew my mind. Someone came to our table asking about the society and said they really love what they do. They've heard wonderful things about us all their lives.
Right.
And they said they're waiting to be invited to be a member. I thought my jawbone was going to hit the top of the table in front of me. I'm like, what?
Yes, I've heard that years ago.
Yeah, yeah, you had to be invited. I said, no, make it resoundingly clear to everyone listening. You do not have to be invited to be a member. We are like Hard Rock Cafe and their mantra, love all, serve all. If you're Scottish, we will bring you into our society. And we have about 130 members right now, and we're still growing. And we don't want people to think in the old ways. Everyone is welcome. Come to the society. You'll get a chance to be, like this person said, be with a group of people with big hearts and powerful spirits.
Right.
And we are doing good. We're getting more recognized. We go to the Highland Games. People not only people have always heard of the Scotch Charitable Society, but they never really knew what we did. Well, over the past year, we've done a lot to change that. I think they're starting to get a good idea, and I'm only just getting warmed up.
Right. I know you're always making the rounds at the festival, Scott, and I would say the word is approachable. Uh, you're it seems to be no, nothing against anyone 5 years ago or so, but the Scots Charitable Society is approachable now. I would say that, put it that way.
No, that's a
Um,
good observation, Ray. That really is, because you're absolutely right. Not that we were purposely being unapproachable. It's just we kind of set up our tent and waited. And here's the best analogy.
Hmm.
They had the spider web mentality. A spider makes a web in
Yep.
hopes that a fly will land in it.
Some kinds do, yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, we're gonna be the tarantula. We're gonna go out and get the prey. So that's why I go and I usually teach people in my group to go out to the other tents, introduce yourself,
Right.
learn about their organization, tell them who we are, tell them our tent is here, come by and stop, pay us a visit. By the way, we do have openings for new members.
Yeah, I was just on your website. I think it was last night, Scott, actually, and there's an introduction there with a historical. I would only call it a illustration. It puts you right there in a room, in a meeting room somewhere in 1657 in Boston. Some people got together, and can you tell us a little bit about how the organization was born?
Yes, I think what you're referring to is something that we instituted this year. And instead of having people read through the long history on our website, we took one of our members who has a lovely Scottish accent and she did an audio recording of it.
Ah,
And like within the first 6 weeks, it was downloaded 200 times. I'm
yeah,
sure it's been downloaded more. But people are more likely to listen for 20 minutes and try to read a long story.
yes.
But the story, to get to your point, the Scotch Charitable Society goes back to the 1650s, the English Civil War.
Yes.
Scottish soldiers were captured by the forces of Oliver Cromwell and his Roundheads, and they didn't have enough prison space, so they took the old Durham Cathedral in England and turned it into a makeshift prison. These were thousands of men being crammed together in squalid conditions.
Hmm.
A lot of them died of dysentery and starvation, and
No doubt.
some London investors came along and said, hey, over in the colonies, they don't have enough resources to run an iron mill. So they built one in what was considered Lynn, Massachusetts, but today it's Saugus. They said, let's
Yeah.
make the investment, let's ship these guys over. And they were indentured servants, really one step removed from being a slave.
Okay.
They were shipped over here, they landed in Lynn, they marched them off to the Saugus Iron Works. Some went to the wood mills in Durham, New Hampshire, and Berwick, Maine. But
Uh-huh.
there's a group of them that went to the Saugus Iron Works. And these poor souls worked from can't see in the morning to can't see at night. They lived in squalid little huts. I'm sure they barely had enough to keep themselves warm. They barely had enough food to eat. I don't think anybody in that group was overweight. That was darn sure.
Right.
And I toured the Saugus Ironworks, and it's something to see. Where I stood in front of that huge furnace, and I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, I don't know what it was like. I can only imagine standing here, probably wearing about 50 pounds of leather clothing on a hazy, hot, humid New England day, standing in front of a 2,000-degree blast furnace.
Right.
I said, that's incredible. Now, here's where the story gets interesting, is that after 7 years, the first group, they fulfilled their indenturement. They were set free.
Hmm.
And they got together with some local Scots. And this is impressive that they had, with all that they've gone through, being a prisoner, being an indentured servant, living a very hard life, to meet up with local Scots and have the presence of mind to create the society. It was originally called the Laws, Rules, and Orders of the Poor Boxes, and eventually became Scotch Charitable. And they would meet at the Green Dragon Tavern in Boston. On January 6th, 1657, which is only 37 years after the Pilgrims landed, they created the society. And so, therefore, we are the oldest charitable institution in the Western Hemisphere.
Amazing, Scott.
It's a very
1650, right? And I don't know if how many other Scots were here in New England at that time. I know they weren't invited to be here unless for that purpose very much. I'm sure there were some others in English colony though. a Puritan English colony was the order of the day at that period.
Yep. As I understand it, Ray, the Scots that were in the Boston area, not as indentured servants, were basically laborers. But what's fascinating is the fact that how the Scots rose in society, because I tell people about the Revolutionary War, the battle in Lexington, the shot fired around the world.
Yes.
I said the origins of that actually go back 100 years to the English Civil War, because the Scots that came over as indentured servants, they blended in with society. And I think it's a third of the militiamen on Lexington were descendants of the Scots, the Saugus Iron Works.
Hmm. And this originally called Poor Box Society, you might call it,
Yep, yep,
was the impetus of the whole of what today is become the Scots Charitable Society. Amazing.
yep. And if anyone drives through Lexington on Mass Ave, heading towards Arlington, if you're going towards Arlington, on the right-hand side, you will see the Monroe Tavern. Well, Monroe, who owned that, his grandfather was one of those indentured servants.
There's your ripples.
Is part of your ripples. Yep, and it's been going ever since.
Right.
And so we use this tartan ball as a way to bring people together collectively as a culture to enjoy our our origin and our culture and being with people that are of the same background with us, and at the same time raise money to do a world of good. Now, there are three pillars of our society. Scholarship is one of them. Relief is another. Now, just for the purpose of perspective, Ray, the society has given out over $2 million in scholarship funds.
Amazing.
We've given out over a $500,000 in relief money. This is for people who are under financial stress. Story of a young mother of Scottish descent, lives in Connecticut. She's a nurse and she was in transitions of a job. And there was like about a month that she wasn't working. And she applied for the scholarship, applied for the relief fund, and we took care of her to help her bridge that gap.
Mm,
There is,
wonderful.
uh, yeah, there's a family up in Maine that they uh, they didn't have enough money for heat. We paid the heating bill, and other similar stories of people just go in dire need and have nowhere else to go. We had a Scotsman who came over. He tried to move into this country. He was here for a couple of years, but he struggled. He just couldn't get it to go to work, and he depleted all of his funds.
Hmm.
He needed to go back home. We paid for the shipping of his belongings to go back with him.
Right. These are make or break situations. Even a tank of oil for some people, no, but a situation is a situation for that individual, Scott. And my goodness, what wonderful stories.
This is why I love preaching the gospel of the Scotch Charitable Society. We're here to help. Our motto is Scots helping Scots. This is what we're about. And we are very much interested in people who have Scottish in their background, willing to be a part of this noble organization.
I
And
can
we've
only
made,
imagine.
pardon?
Excuse me. I can only imagine that it makes you proud to be a Scot, to
Oh
be a
God, yeah.
member of this, and to take part in this kind of work. It's an opportunity to get together with people. You might not be able to do that out of your own budget, of course, but when you get together with all your fellow members, I can see where this literally adds up, and to the work that you do.
It is. And just to give everyone an inside photo of the society, is we have different committees in our society. We have the scholarship committee, we
Yeah.
have the relief committee, we have the events committee. Events is the one that puts on the tartan ball. That's a wonderful group of people. Speaking of tartan ball, I'd like to take a moment to um, share our appreciation to our sponsors. And I'd like to take this moment. We
Sure.
had two Cayley sponsors, and one was the National Trust for Scotland and McClintock Enterprises of Boston. And then we had what's called the Grant Saltier sponsor, and that's the NH Scott Group, who is participating in that. And then there's the sponsorship for what's called Scots Helping Scots. And that's North Mechanical Services Incorporated. It's Norcross and Son HVAC and Joshua McIntosh of the No Fame Games. These are people in organization who are sponsoring the Tartan Ball, which we are sincerely grateful for. And I just wanted to give them recognition. Thank you.
Yes, yes, the wonderful folks that help you out. Without them, a lot of this wouldn't happen, especially this event.
I think we have 6 or 7, maybe 8 raffle baskets,
Yeah,
and they have a wide variety of things from Scottish gifts and tartan, like Scottish apparel, Scottish food. I think the single malt Scotch is always very popular.
right.
Everybody throws in the tickets to get that, but it's all towards a good cause. I have to say that the one thing I have really enjoyed this past year is that once upon a time I'd go to the main games or Loon Mountain or the Kichi games
Mm.
and talk about the Scotch Charitable Society, and people would acknowledge that. But now I'm getting a different response. I talk about I'm with the Scotch Charitable Society. Their eyes come aglow and they smile and they're like, "We've heard about you. We've heard about you taking care of someone. We've heard what you've done." And then once in a while, someone kind of works up the courage saying that, "How can I be a member?" And I said, "Let's sit down and talk. I'd be happy to have you as a member." And so getting back to our different communities, we have, believe it or not, we have a graves committee because we have 2 dedicated plots at the Mount Auburn Cemetery and Mount Hope Cemetery in Boston,
Ah, yes,
where we are in the process of working with other organizations to have the beautiful wrought iron fence at the Mount Auburn Cemetery, which I understand is like one of the gems of the cemetery. Uh, the Mount Auburn Cemetery is very unusual because it's a place that people out of town like to tour because it's so beautifully manicured and taken care of.
yes,
Right near the front is the Scotch Charitable plot, and it gets a lot of attention. That so over the years, that old fence has gotten some wear and tear, so we've totally dismantled it, taken it to an organization on the North Shore who is stripping it down,
oh, nice.
rebuilding it, putting in new granite footing,
Yep.
and restore it to its original glory,
Oh,
which we're excited about. And when it's done, we're supposed to have what's called a kilt walk, where we're going to invite people, put on your kilts, and we're going to go through the cemetery around the plot. So
yes,
we also have other organizations. We have the finance organization, treasurer. We have the investment committee. This is when all the money we collect for the different raffles and at the different games, it all goes into funds that are very well manicured and monitored
mhm.
so we can make more money from that. And what our investments yield goes towards paying for scholarship and relief and so forth.
Yep.
And of course, it's wonderful when people who pass away, they bequeath money to the society. That is a very high honor for for people that do that. So we're grateful for that.
Yes,
And we have a section on our website called Scott Links. It's broken into 3 sections: Scottish organizations, clans, and pipers and pipe bands. It's a one-stop shop. Right now, we have 120 some odd organizations on there right now.
yep,
And so you can go to one spot and you can find a multitude of different Scottish vendors, Scottish organizations, other Highland games, anything to do with Scottish. And we're getting more and more people, so it becomes a one-stop shop. And if you've got a wedding coming up and you need a piper, you can go to Scott Link's piper section, and we have pipers listed by grade
right.
and how to contact them. So what's happening is people are coming to this, and they're discovering the society in the process. So I've talked about our 3 pillars. We have scholarship, we have relief, and the third one is culture.
Hmm.
This is why you see us at the different Scottish events. We are all about Scotland and Scottish people. And here in the United States, we are a very important component of the Scottish culture because we've been around for so long. We have helped and supported Scottish families and people in coming into this country
Yep.
and helped them become a part of America. And so we are so determined to keep this cultural investment going.
I know it, Scott, and thank you so much for you and your I was going to say staff, but all the volunteers, everything that they do is so important. And it's wonderful to have this story in New England. It's not ended yet. A lot of the stories I say in the Touchdown Channel, everybody, right? They end. They happen in 16, whatever, 17 something. They ended a month later. I talk about a war, a battle, or something. This is still going on, my friends. Um, it
It's,
started in 1650 on September 3rd, you might say, and it carried through till today, and it's going to go forward with folks joining the Scots Charitable Society or donating to it.
yep.
Whatever you can do to help, certainly appreciated.
I encourage everyone who's listening, please take a moment and visit our website at scotchcharitable.org and and take a look and see who we are, what we're all about, and what we do. And if you're compelled to be a part of it, reach out to us. We would love to speak with you. And also I want to thank you very much for the time today, Ray. We are
Oh,
proud to be associated with the Touch Not channel
thank you.
and looking forward to our continued association in the years to come.
Yeah, speaking of which, please let me know when this kilt walk is.
And by the way, we also have we have a we're on Twitter, which is now called X, and we also have a Facebook page. So feel free to look us up and reach out to us. And if anyone is curious or interested in becoming a member, reach out to us. We'd be happy to speak with you. And again, Ray, I want to thank you for your time today. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. And yeah, stay with the Touchdown Channel for updates on things. And Scott's usually at the festivals I'm at. If not, you come by my tent. I have Scots Charitable Society folders on the table commonly because I'm a big supporter of these folks. I just made a little video this morning. It'll be out in a couple days. Scots Charitable Society is one of the three main things that I would support people donating to and helping out as members. You'll see
We
that in a
appreciate
couple days, but that's no fooling, folks. I'm really behind this. Not getting paid for this. I think you know that already. I don't do this for pay.
it.
I believe in these guys right here, so please,
We sincerely
please support
appreciate it.
them. All right, all
Right.
right. Take care, Scott, and I'll see you in about 2 weeks, won't I?
I will. Thank you again and have a great day.
All righty.
All right.
That's not
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thanks for being with us.